can redemption or peace be found after committing great wrongs? Why or why not? Try to include examples from Macbeth. So maybe I'll give you guys about 2 minutes, 2 minutes to answer, and I'll have everyone present. AK, can you present your answer?
Redemption or peace can't be found after committing great wrongs, as in the play Macbeth. Characters such as Macbeth and Lady Macbeth who did bad deeds never ended up forgiving themselves. To add, later in the play, Lady Macbeth was seen loving her water to wash down the guilt, showing how she was regretting committing great wrongs.
We haven't done the what it reveals section. The second one again is after hearing of Lady Macbeth's death, and he's like reflecting on his life. It's like out, brief candle. Again, the brief candle, the candle itself is a symbol. It symbolizes the human life. The candle is used to symbolize human life. It can be like turned off again, right? So it's like the fragility of human life. Okay. And then please also mention how out, what kind of emotion this is trying to convey. Out. There's a reason why Shakespeare used repetition here. Okay, third one was when this is Macbeth's soliloquy. It would be awesome if you wrote in your analysis that this quote is a soliloquy after Lady Macbeth died. Macbeth reflects on the meaningless of life, right? The transient nature of life, the meaningless, transient nature. So let's look at the close reading practice. This time, our Minjin told me all the page numbers, so we have time to highlight. Please take out your highlighters. Okay, the second one, we have to look at 204 to understand this quote. This is when Macbeth kind of sees the invading army, and he no longer fears death. And this also is very, the scene is very symbolic because in their previous acts, he's the one who was always afraid of being killed and overthrown. However, he no longer feels fear of death. I'm wary of the sun. The sun here is like living, like burned out. So it's Act 5, Scene 5, 204, guys. Please try to not look at the meaning and the effect on reader. It's when he's like very tired of living. The meaning here, again, is showing that he lost hope. Okay, he knows, he kind of accepts his fate. He knows that he cannot, him alone cannot fight that army. And it shows the emotional exhaustion. This part that I would like you guys to write emotional exhaustion, wary of the sun. Okay. Again, meaningless. So constantly, the quotes that we've been going through just shows how meaningless power is. Meaningless power is. Now let's look at the character analysis. Okay, so the first one, Macbeth. Macbeth's internal conflict here again was guilt and ambition. It's not only in Act 5, but I'm talking about in general to wrap up the whole story. Macbeth, he constantly goes through this conflict of guilt versus ambition and fear versus pride. Okay, fear versus pride. Fear versus pride especially is shown when he is confronting Macduff. Now, the symbolic meaning of all these conflicts that Macbeth goes through is how the represents the corrupting power of ambition. So through Macbeth, we could practically see the meaning of this whole story, the message of the whole story, how corrupt power can lead to undesirable consequences. Okay. Now, the introduction is like the most important part because it's like a compass. So we're going to go focusing on only the introduction solely. Now for this blank part, so after the bolded part, I'm going to make you guys write again. But for this part, while we're discussing, it would be wonderful if you guys could take notes, how this can be improved. Okay, so let's start with the first question. The question was last week's question. This student, now, Edgar Allan Poe, known for his Gothic literature, explores human fears and weaknesses through symbols of entrapment. In The Mask of the Red Death, Poe illustrates a prince who tries to escape death, while in The Cask of Amontillado, he reveals a man's pride leading to revenge and confinement. So in this case, guys, you might wonder, oh, 2 stories, I have to write summaries. That's going to be very long. No, just think about the key events. And in terms of key events, you have to think what conveys the message of the story. Now, the second part, the bolded part, is one that I have changed. Guys, we have about 13 minutes. I'm going to give you 6 minutes each to write an introduction. You already have the information above. Practically, you're writing this once again, but in your own words and what your focus was in your previous writings.